And hello everybody, I'm really sorry about that. My system has decided to continually crash every time I flick between live and editing format. So I'm just going to have to sort of talk to the developers about that. But hello and welcome to today's session. Today we are going to be continuing the story of Sagacious Hand and Kalis Kudan, who have uncovered some of the deepest mysteries of Kaldor and what is going on in this kingdom. Fortunately now, they are joined by their good friend Tarala Auric, who is just now rousing from their deep... What's the word that means you didn't mean, like, you didn't get to choose to do a thing?
Involuntary.
Yes, that's the word. Oh my gosh. I have a cold, and I am on some medication for that cold, and so I'm a little bit... Apologise. Involuntary coma. Rousing from her involuntary coma. And this music is way too jovial for the situation at hand, because some really terrible things have happened, both in Tarala's dreamlike state, and if you caught the bonus session with just Tarala, then great. If not, then I highly recommend going back and reading that, so you know what on earth is going to happen now. I haven't yet got it up on YouTube because I'm having some internet issues on this end at the moment, and I need to fix up my YouTube channel because some of the music isn't getting picked up as royalty free, so I have to fix that as well. That said, let's dive into it. Can perhaps Vero... Actually, Vero, can you tilt your camera up a little bit? Yeah, that's great. Can you please explain to us what Sagacious Hand and Kalis Kudan have discovered, and why it is so monumental for what is happening?
Kalis Kudan and Sagacious Hand have returned back to Kaldor and discovered that during the night, a diplomat from Perugia has been found mutilated, and evidence of them being in the hallway, having set fires and then put out fires, and having been in the prince's room during all this chaos. Nothing was covered up, and so when we exited from the underworld with proof, so we thought, of the goings-on of the night, it only incriminated the group further for having been responsible for the nefarious activities that had occurred in the country, obviously including not just the apparent poisoning of a diplomat at the table, but possibly an attempted murder of the prince himself, and an actual murder of this diplomat. We have made our way and rescued a Righteous Lotus from the dungeons after being told by the king that she's being kept there and questioned. Whilst at the shrine, the Formica appeared before the group and said that she had something to speak with us specifically that was not for mortal ears. And so carrying an unconscious Tarala, at first hesitant but now convinced Righteous Lotus to come with us, and Jonathan as well, at Sagacious Hand, wanting an escort. So there is Jonathan and a guard. They have hopped into a carriage and they are making their way out to the estate. Having arrived at the estate of the Tidea family, we find that the area is actually quite lush and verdant there, but it seems to be what might have been sweeping outwards seems to be like this is the last of the life essence that is probably left in this kingdom. We enter in and speak with Formica, who whispers, "Shh, he's sleeping," gesturing to a small skeleton that is buried beneath the tree. Very young child that is, we have appeared to have found Phoebus's remains, and that Lady Pendea came to Formica and begged her to take care of him. And so she has been doing just that until about 10 years ago, when suddenly it was if his part of him, his soul, question mark, was ripped from her care. And ever since then, there's been a monster stalking Paul. The Sagacious Hand has mentioned about the book which they have in hand, of the Sorceress Workings, and it appears that Jonathan loved his grandmother very much and may have attempted to summon his grandmother, but in summoning what he would have thought perhaps to be maybe his closest relative, blood relative, being either his mother, who we know has already passed on to Leith. It's instead targeted not his grandmother, but nearest living relative, or nearest relative being Phoebus. So we suspect, and has been confirmed by Formica, that there is more than one person inside Alexander Marcus. The soul of Phoebus resides in him. Dun, dun, dun. With this knowledge, her energy is waning, and so she has asked us to free Alexander from the soul of Phoebus. And because only then can she give him her blessing. And she has, what we know outside of game, she has given her essence into the last of herself, the last of her energy, to be condensed down into a shard of an exigence, the godly power that is her. And it has formed into a lantern as the tree itself wisps away, and she is gone. Her last wish being for us to free Marcus of this curse, so he can, so the land can be healed.
Thank you.
Was that enough?
That is precisely everything that happened.
Oh, sorry, was that too much?
No. It's good. It's good.
Okay.
Tarala.
Yeah.
There is a awful stinging pain on the side of your head as you sort of the curtain of darkness starts to peel away. It's like a slit of light almost blinds you as you can palpably feel your eyelids peel back away from your eyes themselves. Everything is super heightened, the pain making you incredibly aware of every little feeling in your body. One moment. Making you incredibly aware of every little feeling in your body. The stiffness of the wagon that you are lying in, hard against your back. The soft hand of Lotus brushing your forehead as you slowly rouse.
So she looks over Lotus. Where are we?
We're at the Tydean estate. Sagacious Hand and Kalis have moved on to speak with Formica.
Tarala slowly sits up. She's holding her head. And how long have I been out?
Most of the day. They never really said what happened to you.
One moment I'm with them at the tomb, and now I'm here. Ugh. I had a dream.
Dream.
Yeah. It was a memory. You said we're at the Tydeus estate?
Yeah, yes. It's, and she sort of gestures around, and you can see the wonderful greenery here. It's like you've woken up in a completely different world.
Have the others returned? You said most of the day, like, have DeNovo and Saranath Shasta come
No,
back?
I
I'm
haven't
just
heard from
trying
them. We haven't heard from them.
Okay. She visibly tries to get up but stumbles and just waits a moment. It's like, you say they're nearby, right? In the estate itself, she's pointing towards I'm assuming that there's a building there.
Yes, in the gardens at the rear. As you look up, you can see the building there, and what would ordinarily be sort of vines and sort of almost ivy sort of crawling up the side of the building, instead has sort of detached itself from the building to create these two immense sort of plant-like figures who are sort of just stooping low over the wagon and looking out towards the horizon, making sure, standing guard. You recognize their posture. If any of the others try to leave the wagon, being Lotus or Jonathan, they will stop them. You, they're not so sure about. You weren't called here by their lady, but they can sense that inside you.
I'm not gonna take a risk right now. I'm seeing 3 of you right now, so I'm just gonna give me a second. And Tarala whispers under her breath. She spends an instant of 3 motes and then another instant of 3 motes separately, like sending a message, one to Kalis, one to Sagacious Hand, saying, I'm awake, I'm outside. What happened? With the retrospect, not thinking, she can't get a response back, and she's still very woozy.
The last rays of sun dip below the western horizon, and you can see a breeze picks up through everything. All the leaves on the trees here suddenly start to curl inwards and turn brown, like autumn had suddenly come all at once. And they start to shed their canopies. The Guardians visibly shake, stand, and say that their vigil is over. And they walk away.
Now I'm not actually sure if I'm actually awake. Pinch.
What happened? I don't understand.
I have no idea. This is way more Arthur Shastra DeNova's wheelhouse, not mine.
Okay. Sagacious Hand, Kalis. The last words of Formica still echoing in your ears. As the vegetation around you starts to turn brown, you can hear the whispered voice of Tarala against your ears.
Sagacious Hand lets out a sigh of relief, the fact that she's woken up, that she's okay. Puts his hand out and picks up the lantern and inspects it. What does it look like? How big is it?
It looks like an ordinary lantern. It has the sort of it's square in shape. It has that triangular top with a hole, as if to sort of dangle something from it. The kind of thing you'd see in gardens, just as a pretty thing to sit in the garden. But there is a white, blue, and gold flame flickering within it. It doesn't seem to cast any light, though. It is just itself luminescent.
Would I be able to make some sort of lore roll based on, or information based on my folklore knowledge? That, like, can it be touched? Like, is there any stories of this? Like, how, like, of what this is?
What's your occult?
0.
The best you would manage, and I'll give you this without a roll, is that you know stories of gods who have granted mortals blessings. And sometimes the goddess had to sacrifice themselves to do it. As to what it is exactly, how to wield it, you have no idea. Kalis?
I've just been muted, so I realised why you guys have been ignoring me. Oh. Friend Hand, we should not spend too much time here. We've been given a sacred task, and also I believe we should also see that Crown Prince Jonathan Marcus, the first of his name, takes charge of putting his relative in the rightful resting place on top of the mountain.
We have the basket that we brought some of the supplies in. We could empty it out, a blanket, we'd be able to carry him up there.
I think that is would lack the gravity of respect deserved for this. If you permit me and trust me to advise on the thing, I think I see the way ahead of us. And he looks to the lantern. We are being given a huge responsibility here. Eyes are watching. I imagine we should try not to mess this one up, huh?
What exactly are we meant to do?
We are meant to restore balance to the land. Formaka has given us a seed, so the cycle of life can renew and prosperity can come back to Caldor. We must make sure that it is put in the right place. Otherwise, I fear for this land's future.
Yeah, Sagacious Hand lifts it up. I'm just not sure if Marcus really is the right place. We'll see how we go. I trust you with looking after you. And he gestures to you.
Sorry, you cut out that, mate?
He gestures to Phoebus. It's like to indicate that he trusts you with the care and of not to, like, because we need to disturb the body in order to take it. Yeah, like, my best idea is there's a basket. So I trust you with the most respectful way to do it.
Kalis motions for you to cover your ears.
Yeah.
In a booming voice, he requests for the others to join him. I'm not going to shout on stream because I don't want you to have ears bleeding out of anything. But if that may be to
stage shout.
Yeah. Oh.
Friends, Your Majesty, I request that you join us at the back now. It is of utmost importance.
Jonathan is looking around, watching these great beings sort of trundle off into the distance. When Kalis' voice booms out, he sort of starts with a little fear, and then shrugs to you and Lotus, and sheepishly just lowers himself off the wagon, starts to make his way around to the rear of the estate.
Just a quick question, because she's obviously in it. She's obviously going to check. still get the diclave and everything? Because, okay.
Yes. You still have all your possessions.
Okay. I was just gonna make sure, because if I just unlocked that and, Uncle had just run off with that, I've been like, man.
Remember, he doesn't necessarily know what it is. It doesn't look like the sword he's looking for. Oh, I mean, the sword that he knows went missing.
All right. Tarala is not like Tarala usually is very, very graceful on her feet, but she is very slow getting off the cart. Just like almost looks like she is trying to make sure her feet actually touch the ground before she lets go and everything. She actually asked Lotus if she could lean on her shoulder just while they head to the back over there.
Of course. Just
Thank you.
dips a hand up over her shoulder. Welcome back, Nayari. Thank you for continuing to watch. Moving around to the rear of the estate, you can see that this used to be a great, grand, and wonderful garden with a large, twisting oak tree at its center. The oak tree is shedding its canopy. The pathways now are just carpeted in these yellow, orange, and red leaves from all of the trees that are shedding themselves.
All right. Since Sorrel hasn't actually been here when it was in its glory, to her, this just seems like this is just like she's actually concerned since she was knocked out before she learned fully. Is the Shadowland creeping up here? Because this is death and everything. She doesn't even know. Like, did we screw up that bad?
Are you asking this out loud?
Like she's actually looking like, did the Shadowland make it this far? Yeah, she's actually asking that.
The words escape Tarala's lips as she comes up with Sagacious Hand and Kalis. Sagacious Hand wielding a lantern with a strange, glowing flame in it.
Kalis goes in to hug Jade Phoenix and then pulls back at the last second, worried that he might crush her in his mighty hands. It is good to see you awake.
It's good to see you, both of you. I mean, there are going to be a lot of questions later, but
We have a long cart journey home in which me and Brother Hand will happily talk. If you are feeling up to it, I know you are quite injured, my friend.
more dizzy. But it stings all over. But where's Jonas?
He's here with you. Oh wait, sorry, not Jonas. Sorry, no, Jonas is not here.
What?
He's not here.
I was gonna. No.
He leaps down out of the tree and stabs you in the back.
It was you all along, Jonas. Knew it.
Jonas? Jonathan? I think not.
Sorry, I was thinking Jonathan.
So, is Jonathan?
Jonathan
has
is here
come
with
as
you.
well?
Yeah.
Kalis looks to Hand the same way you look at him when looking for a stage cue, is it?
Yeah, and he's like,
Kalis,
Yeah.
like, very gently steps around Jade Phoenix and moves up, glancing over to Righteous Lotus and giving sort of almost a sheepish expression, knowing that, like, a lot has happened and still they can't talk about it just yet. Trying to acknowledge that she's there and he remembers her, but now comes the duty of a shaman.
She looks back at
So
you
Gage just
almost
symbol.
desperately, like her, like not terrified so much as she has no idea what's going on. This is well above her pay grade. She's used to dealing with spirits and such from her experiences in Great Forks, but she's never seen anything on this scale before. Certainly hasn't been witness to deeds of Exalted on the magnitude that you guys are.
Crown Prince Jonathan Marcus, first of his name. I've been charged by Formica to take care of any motions to the remains. The remains of your it would be his uncle?
Yep.
Of your uncle, Phoebus Tydeus, is it? Pronounced it Phoebus Tydeus. I believe that this sacred charge must be taken by the both of us, so I request that you accept me as your shaman and advisor for this undertaking. It would be an honor to see that your family finds its proper rest and dignity in death that has been denied to it for far too long.
He stares down at the bones nestled in the roots and shakes his head almost in disbelief. No, this was a story you made up. That Father said this was not true. You were. It was a show, a performance. No. Granny never did this. Ever.
Kalis approaches gently as a father might do to a child that needs comforting. He places one gentle hand on his shoulder. Crown Prince Jonathan, you'll see, sometimes for there to be life, there must be death. This is the way of things, but that does not mean that death has to be taken lightly or that we take joy in such things. Sometimes this world is cruel, but it is up to us, those that live, to make sure that the world carries a light, so it is not all darkness. There must be balance in these things. This is not a time for sadness or fear. This is a time of greatness. This is a time to set right wrongs. This is a time for one to enter the crucible and truly come out more better for it. I know you can do this, Jonathan. I see the courage inside of you of a warrior. I see the compassion of a leader. Do not make Kalis a liar, huh?
No, she didn't. She wouldn't. He falls to his knees. I can't believe it. What you said was true. He just falls against Kalis's legs and begins to cry.
Kalis will lift him up and embrace him and hug him for as long as he needs, letting him cry into his shoulder.
When you lift him up and pull him into a deeper hug, the initial sobbing seems to give way. Your embrace seeming to break the dam of emotions as he just starts to almost scream into your chest, crying, almost thrashing and pounding on your chest with his fists, screaming and screaming and yelling and crying.
I would like to recite a song from my tribe. It is the lighting the way ceremony for when when there's a loss, be it like an animal or a tribe member, and it affects a tribe member so deeply, and so the whole tribe comes together to help them on that journey through the grief. And often what they will do with the children of the tribe, if it's a child, they will like make these paper lanterns, and they will like light up a path. And as the child walks through the path, the voices of the tribe will sing and guide them through the light. And they will, although they may feel alone, eventually they will realize as they walk down the path, the whole tribe's with them. And grief is not an isolated thing, although each experience is their own. It's shared, and the different voices and melodies that come in will. And so, Kalis will sing a song of grief and of transformation as Jonathan walks through this emotional path.
Are you trying to inspire or instill something in him in particular, or just for flavor?
Yeah, I guess I'm give me a second to like. Ooh, they.
Would it be like as he's having this cathartic release, the way in which you're inspiring him is eroding the anger or sadness, or like it's not like, and you don't feel grief anymore, but the song comforts it to pull it out and let it go?
I think sorry, Ove, that's really like, so what I'm inspiring is to transform that negative emotion or things that could weigh somebody down, and transform it in like a butterfly emerging into something greater, to like forge those things and turn it into a foundation where we can become better through our pain and acknowledging it.
And
Replace with pity for a city barely coping. Yeah.
don't hate us, Joss. We love your work. As this
I also love Kalis.
long,
Love you too, brother.
not quite mournful song, Kalis intones, you can hear in the distance growing clearer, like a distant large horn in stereo. His song is joined. A beat is created with the thumping of heavy feet upon the ground. And the creatures that you had seen at the front of the estate return, singing your song like they have known it all their lives, taking in the deeper tones and echoing it out across the plains surrounding you. Like nature itself is rising up around you in this cry and transformation. I'm going to give you both your roll and expression bonus right now.
Oh, I don't think I deserve that. I think
Thank
I
you
was
very
mostly on
much.
Kalis.
What? I was talking about Kalis, didn't I? Did I say hand?
You said both.
You meant both the expression, maybe?
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
yes,
cool.
Were you
yes.
meant-
Kalis
Yeah,
receives
I'm
both
like-
expression and roll.
Okay. I mean, hand did help, so I wouldn't be object
Well,
to that.
I was
but,
getting there.
Hmm.
Hand, you have seeded the spotlight, actively contributing to make Kalis's moment more awesome. So that's your roll bonus for today.
Cool.
As the deep tones of the song continue, Jonathan's crying lessens. His face set resolute as he finally loosens himself from Kalus's grip and strides forward with determination, pulling the, royal cape off your shoulders and wrapping the small child's bones in it like swaddling, before lifting it out of its hole. And as the sun finally vanishes, the night sky is lit up with the brilliant stars. Slightest ghostly form of a young child overlays the skeleton. And as he holds it close to his chest, it too cries, shedding ghostly tears down his front. Turns back to you. Still sad, but the energy of that sadness is being funneled into motion, into resolve. He nods back to you and carries the remains back to the wagon. The creatures finish their song as you finish yours. They stoop down low, clasping their hands in front of you, Kalus. As the vines intertwine, a flower grows between them, budding and blooming in an instant. It takes the shape of this beautiful, bright, almost glowing flower. Its long stem, green and luscious, but stiff, as if when you pluck it, it will retain its shape and life indefinitely. Son Kodan, their voices say in person. Brother Kalus, we share your mournful song. It is a song we have sung. It is a song you have sung. There is no need to fear the return of you to your tribe, or them to you. Take this, and with it, call us in an hour of need, and we will stand with you as our brother.
Kalus takes a kneeling position out of respect for them. Gently takes it and says, "We are family, and as such, if you need my strength, all you have to do is call as well. We are joined by the song and the way of life, and I am thankful to count you among my kin. May your days see sun and rains and abundance."
We return to your home that was, We will watch and wait and call if we need. With that, they stand. Step over the canopies of trees. And lope off into the distance, slowly lowering into the ground with each step as they become one with the earth and disappear. I need to blow my nose really quickly, sorry.
To make sure I don't blame you. You said you had a dream.
Are you talking to me?
Cadus returns to Jade.
She only said that to
Oh, sorry.
Venus. Yeah.
Oops.
I was gonna say, wait, what? No,
My
she
bad,
hadn't said
sorry.
anything yet.
Okay.
Don't you know? The trees have ears.
I mean, I could maybe have called that with my awareness, but no. Sorry, Kat, I thought you said it was rounding the corner.
I missed the
will
perfect-
apologise, yes.
I missed the perfect opportunity for a joke when I said the wind blow through the trees, and Lotus is looking around saying, "What's happening?" Like the happening.
Oh, just, in that case, just drink some water. You'll be fine.
So, with that business concluded, Lotus is like tears streaming down her face. Does anybody here have any particularly negative intimacies related to grief?
No.
And I have a huge list of
One sec.
intricacies.
If you find one, Kel,
Yeah.
lower its intensity by 1.
I don't really have one to grief, other than just currently the negative tie to Jonas, but that's only tangentially related to grief. It's more mad at Jonas.
Okay. Missed opportunity. Oh well. So, with Lotus crying at the beauty of that moment, Sagacious Hand, Kalis, and Tarala are left here in the clearing as Lotus decides to give you some privacy, wiping the tears from her eyes as more fall. She sort of just lays a hand on Kalis's chest briefly as she passes him, kissing him on the arm
Okay.
and moving away.
You can stay, Lotus. You are one of us. You are. These words should be heard by you as well. If you feel up to it, if you need a moment to gather yourself, that is okay as well.
She... Oh, Kalis, you... big... man. I have a mission to complete, and now would be the best time. The mission is diplomacy.
Yes.
You're muted, Vay.
Leaders must talk in times of reflection. This I know.
She gives you a pat on the chest, another kiss on the arm, and leaves.
I would turn to Scacious Hand and say, see, life loves me. It has blessed me with 2 beautiful flowers. He motions to the beauty of Lotus walking away and the beauty of the flower gifted by his kin friends.
She's still wearing her evening gown from the night before. Form-fitting, hips swaying as she walks away.
But now I feel we should trade words. He beckons to both Hand and Jade.
Oh, because Jade Phoenix Soul. Oh, I'm an idiot. Because I'm like, Jade? Jade's
no,
not in
not
this
Sally
one.
Spitwine.
No, you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to. No, I ban you. You lose all your experience. You lose all of your
What's
experience. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's not worth mentioning. Is it, Cal?
Oh, okay, yeah, I got it.
As this was once a, like even with the autumn setting in, this was once a house, so there'd be some of those, the gazebo concrete chair things to sit.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a rich estate. Despite the fact that nature seems to have taken it over, everything here is in pristine condition. Formica has been looking after the place very, very well.
Night has fallen, so heading back to towards Caldor is going to be risky. For this conversation, and he looks to Kalis, for this conversation, either we should stay here and discuss everything fully, or within the wagon itself, or back to the Excelsior where relatives are safe. We should not go back to the castle tonight.
Do you want to hear a foolish man's idea, Hand?
I was just speaking, so
You are wise leader. Do not try and outperform me in the feats of foolish, or we will get into much more trouble than we're used to, huh?
it's that, you know, the sad laugh. It's that there is still humor, there is still light, but like the news that we have to now impart is pretty heavy.
I think that we are no use to anybody here. We must be close to our friends and those we care about. I suggest we take this conversation in cart. I understand that such words have weight, and I trust everybody in that cart. I think they are our friends, but I understand if Jade, only being awoken, does not share that sentiment. And you, Hans, you are much more better judge of people than I at times. But I do feel that we must confront the monsters of the night, and I think that we must wrestle with demons both figuratively and literally, as Miss Sarah would say. And I feel that we must contain the beast that stalks the night. I feel we must capture this and make people face the truth of what monsters lie in the hearts of people that have been allowed to fester for too long.
Thank you.
Out of character, because that was a very roundabout way of Kalis, using very flower. Kalis suggests that we go on a monster hunt, capture the king, put him in some sort of pit or something, and wait for morning's light to reveal the truth. It's the most riskiest path and quite foolish, but in order for us to move forward, we have to take risks, kind of thing. But either way, staying here is not going to help anyone, unless you need a privacy. So.
At the Sagacious Hand is just going to nod. Like, it's not a bad plan. It's just there's a step directly before that which is needing to inform Jonathan of the potential that it is, the king is this monster that's been stalking the halls. So it's like that hurdle first. So then for the next one, it's like do we tell him or do we go back and let him see it? What happens when we cross the border? There's a whole bunch of questions. So it's I'm just calculating, like, it's not a bad plan, but also, do we want to go back? But we kind of have to, so yeah, either way, we need to just jump in the cart, so yeah.
There's also the step that two of us aren't really fit for monster hunting at this exact moment.
Yeah.
Has this whole conversation happened out of character? Yes.
So, with Kayla suggesting to head back to the castle to deal with matters in that way, Sagacious Hand is going to look at Jade Phoenix Soul, who is incredibly injured, down at himself and assessing his own physical capabilities at the moment. I think a solid plan is the best course of action, but we're going to need a while. I don't know how much we'll get done tonight. What I don't understand, as he's moving towards where Jade Phoenix Soul is, what I don't understand is what happened to the diplomat from Krivia. Jonathan, would you be able to enlighten us as to what information there is?
We back at the car, or are we back to the car?
Okay.
So Sagacious Hand is going to help with an arm under Tarala to help Righteous Lotus help get her back, because she's looking a little worse for wear. So shoulder, like if Righteous Lotus had her in one arm, like leaning, Sagacious Hand is going up under the other. Just casually, just like buds, nothing's wrong, just generally walk in that direction and ask Jonathan as we get back to the car, what happened to the lady, specifically, what exactly happened with the lady from Caribbean?
Tarala, Sand, the hand, Sagacious Hand. What are you wearing right now?
I am wearing the pants from last night, which are white, a bit dusty from everything. I changed out my shirt. It was bare-chested. I'm now wearing a guard's shirt that I borrowed from the kingdom.
Anything else, or is that it?
No, other than shoes. That's it.
Okay.
Are you carrying the lantern?
Oh yes, and the lantern, but that's not clothes.
Okay, cool. I was just checking. Jonathan is holding it. Now, this isn't like a baby. This is like maybe 5-6-year-old child, so he's got his arms full. But the ghost is behaving like a baby. It's not doing much. Just being held is enough for the moment. It still cries. And at your questions, and Jonathan, I've come to doubt a great many things about what I thought was real. I truly thought you were responsible for what happened. And I'm not sorry. It seems circumstance has played a bad hand towards you. But as to what happened to... Oh, I've immediately forgotten her name now.
Lorelei.
Yeah, Lorelei. I keep going to say Delora. I'm like, no, not Delora.
Funnily enough, I am remembering the names of the people that I am being accused of murdering.
Lorelei. No one really knows what happened to Lorelei. Her body was found in the residential hallways. It was broken apart, torn to bits, barely recognizable, except that sort of glances at Tarala and Lotus. It was a gruesome scene. There was enough left to identify her. It seemed as if every part of her had been ripped from her skin, and it had been discarded, unused or unwanted. The maze investigated the scene and found no traces of anything. No cause of death other than the obvious. There were no signs of struggle. The surrounding area was undisturbed, except for where it had been splattered by... Again, he looks to Tarala and Lotus. Splattered. When they investigated my room, they found traces of you and your team nearby. Fire had been set somehow. The fuel they had determined to be grease from the kitchens. It made no sense that it was there, but they found evidence of your presence. Some fibers, and when you appeared before us there in the front of the shrine and made mention of everything that suddenly makes so much sense to me now, it sounded like you had admitted to what you had done. That you were the only ones capable of moving around. And that any evidence concealed or missing, any questions left remaining, safely tucked away under the guise of, you are the Admiral of Mirage. It's considered not beyond your abilities. Never knew why. Only that I had been put in danger. And something had stopped you. Which brings me to my next question. You said there was a monster stalking the keep. He looks down at the remains in his arms. Is my uncle haunting us?
Yeah. I don't know if you'd consider it haunting, but I'm not the one to ask about ghosts. But I can tell you from everything that we have seen, and to head nods to Kalis, that you have a gift for sorcery. A bad source material, and he holds up the book, but you are gifted, and your spell didn't fail. John. It just went wrong.
So I have put the kingdom in danger. This is all my fault.
Kalis will shake his head.
With Kalis shaking his head no, Sagacious Hand is nodding. Like, yeah. And looks to Kalis and like, it is his fault. But that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Like, you made a mistake. Mistakes can be rectified. You can learn from them, you can grow from them. Even if it is your fault, it wasn't done maliciously. I think the only person who can fix it might be you, Jonathan.
Mean.
And it's...
I would like to introduce fact, if able, based on my streetwise specialty and folklore. The book that we have, The Sorcerer's Tome. I'm just gonna take my hand down. So if this actually works, then that's great. Otherwise, I've at least stopped. Sagacious Hand is going to flip through the book itself, having had some time to have read some of the pages, not really comprehended any of this, what he considers occult bullshit. But he has shown it to all the people in this group who have knowledge of the spirits and knowledge of these sort of arts. Everyone has said that it doesn't do anything. Denovo's exact words were that he questioned its worth as kindling. The words of Maze in the previous session, when Jonas was good enough to return that book to said investigator, thank you, Sagacious Hand got a dressing down from her, even that, you know, only sort of vile sort of scum people would dare even have associated with this book. You know, it says a lot about someone's character to have this book on hand, to which he kicked over a pot plant and said, you can tell people there was a scuffle, and then left with Tarala. But all of this stuff, how these incredibly smart people, and I don't say that lightly, these are skilled scholars. They're looking at something and disregarding it because it holds no apparent value, because it's wrong. Now, Sagacious Hand's experience is that as a performer, as someone who showing the hand on the top of the deck, is that while you're doing this, people aren't really looking at where the other hand is. And so he's going to flip through the book, and the leather that's binding it, pull out the binding at the back and start looking through the pages, seeing if there is actually a little bit more to this, because it seems that this is a book that he has managed to do sorcery from, even though everyone is saying that it's not that good. What if it is? What if this is the veneer of someone acting the fool? What if this book is the equivalent of, to anyone who has knowledge in it, disregards it, almost like the pall of, oh, it's nothing. But if you actually pull it apart, if you look beneath the surface, beneath the disguise, that there is a deception involved, that this is an actual sorcerer's text. You just need to know how to, and flick out the pages, rearrange some of them, arrange the information. You need to really pierce it and see it. Let's Indiana Jones this stuff up and get some pages on top of each other to find the secret actual spell in there.
I'll give this a difficulty 3.
Okay. While I'm about to roll this, there is actually in 2nd edition canon, there is a book, I forget what it's called, I call it the Blue Book. that is a romance novel that actually has details for summoning demons.
Yep,
and,
I get you.
And so that is where, from second edition, I'm basing this idea off, that everyone's like, oh, you've got a racy novel. It's like, yeah, that racy novel actually shows you how to summon, so...
I'll give you 2 points, Stunt, for both the description and the reference to previous material.
Oh, thank you.
Tarala, do you have any specific thoughts or actions that you want to partake in?
She's kind of trying to play catch up right now because, like, wait, somebody was... Because she genuinely has no idea. She doesn't know about Lorelei. She has no idea about really anything that's going on. She knows about the book, and assuming that Hand was saying things, like, really, there might be only one thing she'd say, and that would be just nudging to Jonathan and saying, there's two kinds of deceptions.
Oh.
The one where, there's the deception...
No. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go on.
Okay, says what he's getting at is there's two types of deceptions. There's the deception where you're being deceived by someone by them deceiving you, and then as Hand does the thing with the book, the deception where you've deceived yourself.
Kalis.
And with that, she kind of glances over at Hand.
Kalis.
Go.
Kalis, like, coughs, clears his throat. Look, before we go any further, I've just got to say this. It's, with all due respect, Chieftain, you were wrong when, in a manner of speaking, when what you just said to Jonathan. It is not his fault solely. You people from these cities and stuff seem to, like, feel like fault is a commodity that you can selfishly hoard. It is a responsibility of those around you. One is very rarely in error on their own. It takes a series of mistakes, people not speaking their heart, people not being open and honest. This is a thing I have seen many times in your tribes. You feel like this journey through life is yours alone, and you cannot share these burdens. You cannot have enough trust. Perhaps you do not have the family bonds to be completely honest and open and vulnerable with such things. But this has got to stop. Look at what it has done to a kingdom. A simple act of honesty and revelation would have stopped this whole series of events, and yet each step has compounded that and buried it and let it fester. I feel that everybody in this cart has secrets or things that they may have wished they had done better, or perhaps are not ready to talk about. But we gotta learn from these mistakes, my friends. We can't hide these away when there are people in arm's reach that will help you through these things. So, no, Jonathan, it is not all your fault, but you had a part to play, and we all must take responsibility for that, because you're not alone. Sorry, this has been bugging me for some time. I just want you to know that when you are ready to talk, and he looks at Jade and Hand, and they're tired of putting on performances to hide things, I am ready to listen and help.
Lotus and Jonathan actually start laughing. It's a happy, relieved laugh. Like, you know, when the emotional toll of a moment has sort of worn away all the energy you have for negative thought, and so all you can do is laugh.
See, Hand? I told you I could do the comedy performances as well. Maybe now you'll believe me, huh?
Starting to think that the faux Russian accent is very appropriate in this moment. Everyone crying is comedy.
One person die, comedy. Everyone die, tragedy.
Having said his piece, Kalis is going to sort of sink back into the car and just let the conversation flow from there.
Sagacious Hand's going to put the it's so hard when I say hand. Sagacious Hand is going to put a hand on Kaelus's thigh. And just it's
Above the knee or below?
on the knee.
We get friends. It does not matter where.
I'm sorry. That's an in joke with me and Faye.
It is after breakfast, after all.
I'm so happy with that one. I am so happy.
It will live forever.
Sorry, viewers. That's another. You should probably be watching these in order, so I'll leave that one.
Just trying to get rid of the smile on my face, but yeah, the Sagacious Hand expresses his thanks. When you're in charge of the welfare of other people, and he starts speaking, bringing up the memories of like when they've been traveling in the Excelsior together, and the amount of people, the organization that's required for 4,000 people, that the prince, that the kings, that the people who are in their situation, as in the diplomat and Jonathan, the buck, blame usually lands somewhere, and you're right, and it's just it has been, he just struggles with things like, I can't even say too long. I don't think I have heard anyone say that to me ever. When you're in charge, when you lead a group, a kingdom, a show, if something goes wrong, it's on your head. That's the way it is. If someone from one kingdom attacks another, then it is the kingdom who did so. And as king, as prince, as representative, and just going through, it's you very rarely see family. You very rarely see group responsibility. So if you take an action as someone leading them, you have to be sure. You have to have that strength, that conviction that what you're doing is for the best. And just whatever happens after that is let the chips fall where they may. I would have loved to have been part of your tribe. It's kind of why I made my own.
Kaelus looks very perplexed when you say, "I'd love to be part of your tribe." Like very visibly, like when you ate something very sour and you're like, like it just looks very confused. I'm taking that look at you.
The idea, in the same way that you eat better food than that really weird porridge stuff that DeNovo likes, the difference. Don't actually want to try the porridge stuff, just curious what it is.
That is not why the face. I mean, the porridge is fine. I mean, I have taken some from it when he has fallen asleep. It's not that bad. But, no, the face is, and what I've been saying to you is, you are part of the same tribe now. We are.
In character, Jonas and Lotus are still laughing at this exchange. Thoroughly entertaining.
Also, you, yet again, you're trying to make it so hard where I come from. Do you know what the job of leader is?
No, but I'm sure you'll tell me. What did Wise Elder once say?
Wise Elder once said, a leader's job is just...
That is not toilet paper.
Yes, many a time. And when I had the remedies for the burns, it was terrible, but enough about that.
Well, for at least 5 times, as it begins, Wise Leader once said, he's going to bring out previous ones that you have said. It's like,
okay, I had a lot of wise elders. I don't mean to be bragging about this, but a A leader's job is simple. It is just to remind each person of their responsibility and what they can do. A leader is a shepherd, not a one to I mean, why would you bear the weight of so many lives? It would, even among me, I'd find it hard to lift that burden. It is to remind people that the burden is shared and to guide with experience. But that is all. It is not to take sole responsibility. Why would you give up that? One of the greatest things in life is choice, to choose the way. And taking that choice from every person seems to lessen everybody, and it makes things harder.
I never considered it like that. I thought I was making it easier on everyone else. Which brings us to more of tonight's discussions. He looks to Tarala at this point and says, I don't know where Jonas has gone. He was kind enough to have at least come back with this book, and the kind of waggling the leather of it.
Kalis?
But
I'm just imagining his hands doing that. She's doing like a Rubik's Cube, solving it as we're talking with a like...
what's that? Craft paper?
Ta-da! Latest trick yet.
It's a goose.
Bloody hell. Sorry. And go
on. Regarding that, I actually rolled 6 successes.
Oh, I know.
With the...
I'm waiting for the opportune moment.
Cool.
But thank you.
I don't know, Tutorella, I don't know where he's gone. He just left, made his little surfboard of earth and fled. Neither of us were really in a state to follow, so... I'm sorry.
No, it
is a surf.
That's how he rolls. I'm sorry.
And you got mad at me for the one joke earlier.
Sorry, Sand. Keep going.
No.
Tarala honestly says, look, honestly, I don't want to see him for right now. It's going to take a while before he and I are going to talk.
Sagacious hand. As you're flicking through the pages, you know you're right. You know it. But you were never very good at recognizing patterns. And almost as if a door in your mind has suddenly opened. And a wealth of experience and knowledge suddenly floods in. A hand comes down to press against yours. And you remember him. He tells you to toss it to the wind.
All right. Kind of tap the bang bang on the cart. All right. Hey, Kalis, Tarala did it kind of leans his like out the window, like still hooking his legs in the carriage. Did Sarah make a copy of this?
I don't know.
Don't believe so.
All patterns look the same to me.
Yeah, a bit like leaves on the wind. Throws it out.
As the wind blows past, catching the pages, sort of fluttering them up and away, you can hear sort of the whistling of something moving very quickly as the pages are suddenly caught out of the air. And as though raining from the sky, stones pin them to the ground in a vast and open array. You don't have to be a trained occultist to know that when the pages are spread out and arranged as they are now laying on the ground before you, definitely looks like an occultic rune of some kind, now that you can take a step back and see it. Jonathan is agape. That's what I saw in my dreams. After I had been studying for so long, but it didn't work.
Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Sagacious Hand. As he hops down to start, to actually draw on a symbol, the actual symbol. Well, it did something.
But I don't know what it did. I don't know how it did it. I don't know how to undo this. I don't even know if I can. And Sagacious Hand, he...
Okay.
You can hear him sort of tisking and sighing on the top of the carriage. Underneath.
Sagacious Hand is going to have a look underneath the pages.
You remember when Striking Ballpeen first showed you how he arranges his patterns, when he was first trying to sort of teach you how to have some kind of skill in stitching that failed miserably, but nonetheless he tried. No, he talked about how, you lay the pattern down on the cloth and you cut it to shape, and then when you want the other side, you just turn the template over. And you get the other side of the clothing. So as you pick up the pages and just turn them over, as the last one falls into place, a second runic formation appears. And Jonathan stares at it. I've never seen that. I don't know what it would do. I don't know how to use it. But that it feels right. And he has some parchment and jots down lots of notes and things. So it's recorded. I'd have to look into this, experiment some, but I don't want to get it wrong. I don't want to make any more trouble for anyone.
How different does it make it knowing this from when you first tried? Because you said you tried everything in the book, so...
Oh, well, I tried everything in the book, but when I had gone through the whole thing after countless weeks and nights, and just It's like I saw it in a dream, and it just made sense, and I moved almost as if by instinct. And he sort of reaches under his tunic and pulls out a small necklace. I still carry it with me. Oh wait, did you take the necklace? Oh, that's right, you did. He reaches under his tunic and just goes, it's gone! I always wear it.
I'm going to trust
what
that
have I
you're
done
not
now?
about to whip out. Tell me you were not about to whip out another rune of hate, and as the just spins it round, like holding necklace and brooch on the top of his finger.
You stole that
I
from
left
me.
you.
When?
I left you your sword.
When did you... you know what? I don't want to know. That would spoil the mystery.
You're learning, kid.
My necklace. It has my hair. It's like a locket.
It throws it towards him.
This is what I made. He opens it up and shows you that inside that there's just a small piece of parchment wrapped up around a few strands of his hair. The rune inside is much like the one you originally revealed from the book.
Okay. So the spell that you made, you were trying to call your grandmother, right?
I missed her guidance. She was always so helpful. I feel like I've not learned a thing since she died.
I'll pause for a second in case anyone else has any questions. I don't mean to take too much time with shenanigans there. Okay. Sagesh's hand starts pacing. Okay. So, you try calling your grandmother. Spell is misfired. Seems like you've accidentally targeted your uncle. Your uncle's soul, essence, is now in 2. We have, and he just within the carriage to the cape. We have your uncle, but he's not whole. Part of him has found the nearest vessel that's still connected to you, because you technically called your blood, but you weren't calling a full spirit, so it has gone into King Market, being still part of you. So, I don't know how comfortable I am with this. King Marcus currently has 2 souls with him. It seems to only really happen at nighttime. We need to try and reconnect them. Kalis, souls, like higher and lower, if they've been split, can they be put back together?
In this kind of shrugs, I think anything is probably possible. I imagine that such connections are strong. I imagine the only reason that they are not together now is the sorcery binds and prevents that. But I am didn't know of Shasta or even Johan I am not wise in these areas, but it makes sense, no? That something has bound them together, and perhaps if that is unbound, then naturally it will go to where it belongs. Perhaps with a little bit of encouragement or guiding, lighting the way. But I am not sure how you would do that with magic and sorcery. But perhaps he looks to Jonathan. Jonathan might have an idea, now he knows the problem. He is a smart person after all.
No, I don't think it's that easy. First rule that I learned, something Grandma said. That which is done cannot be undone, merely altered, changed in form. Everyone roll perception plus awareness, please.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that thing I'm really bad at. Sure.
Great. Oh, good. 5 dice. Oh, wait, minus 1 die.
Oh no, I forgot Neg 4. Yeah. Is it Neg 4 for mental as well?
Yeah, it's a.
For everything.
Oh, actually, I think there's been a dev clarification on that, but if you assume that for the moment, one moment.
I apologise for the law roll earlier. I completely forgot how close to death I am.
That's okay. We won't retcon. I don't like retconning.
I'm just gonna go ahead and spend 4 motes on 2 successes. As it stands right now, I can only roll 1 die.
Yeah, I am rolling -2.
Quick question. Elk, if I safe to assume I've, in this cart journey,
I'm glad I bought.
regained essence, as I'm sitting on 10, and I don't remember spending like 20 essence in the talkie scene with like Formica, or like 20 essence.
Yeah.
How many would you have recovered on the cart journey here?
To this point, it's been 2 hours of travel.
No, on the way there as well?
Oh, on the way there, it took you like 6 hours or so.
Okay.
Oh, so we'd be full?
Yeah, you've been traveling for a while. You went from like midday to almost sunset, so it's like 6 hours.
Excellent, because I had blown every single mote but 1, and so I was sitting at 1 mote, so that's nice.
Yeah, I was on 10.
So I'm glad I bought those 2 successes. So I rolled a 1.
I'm going to put some essence into this, because I feel... Am I aware enough to instinctually put essence into this, My Excellency, Elk?
You are always... Whenever I call for an awareness thing, you're always allowed to spend essence on awareness charms. That's just the way they work.
Cool.
They are reflexive and therefore instinctual. You might not even, like it says in the book, you might not even realize you're using them.
Okay, cool. Which is...
If I go into the negatives because of wound penalties, do I roll no dice? Or
Minimum
1
dice is 1.
Okay.
Ooh.
It just means that if you were to add extra dice, you'd have to make up for the negatives.
Okay. I have no...
I have succeeded 3 times.
Okay. Everyone roll wits plus awareness.
Join battle?
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to use my stealth thing.
Is that reflexive or supplemental?
You know, that's a very good question. I don't know. I will find out.
I'm assuming I can't pump awareness excellency into this roll.
You can, yeah. It's an awareness roll.
Oh, okay, sorry. I wasn't sure if it was an ambush or something like that.
It is, but
yeah,
like,
yeah,
if you roll
I
high
can still do
initiative enough, that you don't get ambushed.
Okay, cool.
All right. Well, I've only got 3 dice, so again, fine, 2 successes.
It is supplemental.
I'll say yes for now, even though it doesn't technically make sense. And I'll revisit that later. You notice nothing, but for some reason, duck and hide.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but like,
It's the supplement to join battle if you are the one that's trying to do the ambushing. So I have a
Got 3
total of
successes.
3 successes, so grand total of initiative 6.
I'm on initiative 6 as well.
Oh my gosh.
yes, I live to see the day. Oh yes, thank you. That's great.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen,
What? Hang
the GM
on.
roll
I
again.
have to check our good friend Jonathan as well. Whoops.
Johnny, we hardly knew you.
All of you feel a sudden pulse of murderous intent just fill the area. Glancing out towards the tree line, you can see It's hard to see in the darkness, but there are shapes converging at the tree line, and then the whistle of arrows through the air. We are going to take our first break here today. Continue after the break. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. We shall return in about 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you very much for waiting, everybody. I'm sorry we did go a little bit over time there on that break, but we're back and we're ready to jump in. As everyone may recall, the whistle of arrows passes through the air as everyone turns to see this already dark night be darkened further by a hail of dozens and dozens of arrows heading their direction. In the moments between, everyone can hear a voice that sounds so much like Sagacious Hand, you would think it was him, were it not for the fact that Sagacious Hand's mouth never moves. Sand, it calls out. The shroud, now.
Sagacious Hand, his arm goes behind his back, then up and around himself as the essence trail pulling from elsewhere comes the sun cloth cloak artifact, the golden bleached material forming itself out of nothingness, pulled from elsewhere as it wraps around himself, to then roll forwards, entering stealth as it starts moving, the cape obscuring the vision of him as it moves towards the sound where Sagacious Hand's voice has come from. It is a reflexive manifestation of my artifact. Yeah.
So you decommit the moat to summon the Loyal Steel?
Yes.
The cape sort of just furls out, and this bright golden sun seems to descend into the midst of it. A burning corona of solar fire, leaving nothing but a dark silhouette in its center. As coiling around the dark, burning sun is that of an open-mouthed dragon roaring to the sky. The cape furls around it and then spreads up and out, covering the caravan and everyone within. This is the appearance of another actor in the scene. And since this is a new day, Kalis and Tarala, you get to make a roll. Which I should have prepared prior to saying all of that.
Combat, man. It's a lot of stuff to do.
I get distracted with some things, and then anyway, I'll not make excuses and just sort of quickly do this.
Also, just out of curiosity, this got brought up since presumably Karanthar isn't just going to be chilling out at that tomb when Tarala was knocked out.
No.
What happened? Where did that happen?
Specifically, we got Karanthar and the carriage. I think is Karanthar with the carriage, not necessarily wheeling it, but
I do not recall if you ever specified that Karanthar was with you, but I don't recall. Not that it didn't happen.
Because I'm just saying, it would be really, really fun if it's just oh yeah, I left him in the but she wouldn't have done.
No,
because we specifically made a point of with the way back up to the tomb.
I imagine Karanthar, regardless of our wishes, would have followed his master or her master.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of protective like that.
Karenthar is either at the Excelsior or with us, because we wouldn't have left Karenthar in the castle. We broke everyone else out, so... I mean, what?
Kalis and Tarala roll wits plus lore.
What's the floor? Okay.
Da, 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 da.
Does Realm Adventure Stories help?
I succeeded one time.
No, it doesn't.
Hooray! Hang on one second, just gotta check my modes. Alright, I'm spending 2 to make sure I get at least 1 success.
I'm sorry for this long wait here. I did not mean for this to take so long. Thought I was prepared prior to starting.
So a grand total of 3 successes.
Okay. So as I said, this burning sun just sort of descends, lighting across, throwing a piercing sunlight across, miles of plains surrounding you, throwing the tree line into stark relief. And what were once sort of shadowy figures lingering at the tree line, you can now see for the full terror that they are. Walking, clattering, suits of armor with nothing apparently wearing it, just sort of moving of their own accord. They have drawn a long row of longbows and let loose a flurry of arrows.
Just out of character, what's the size of this group?
There are dozens of them.
So, size 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nine. Oh god, sorry, maths is killing me right now. Nine was the number I needed. They've rolled 5 successes. Now, unfortunately for them, a guardian has stepped forth. 5, 8. Sorry, 4. What is it? 4, 5. As the cape flies up and stretches out, you can see how thin its material is in full, creating a almost sort of faded, only slightly opaque screen between you and the enemy as the arrows slam into this barrier and are twisted by it and then repelled immediately. The entire attack just negated instantly as the cape furls back in again and around this being's shoulder. Again, the burning sun surrounded by a coiled dragon. Nothing but a shadowy figurine within this bright golden ball of sunlight. That's the end of the round. Everyone gain 5 motes. Sagacious Hand, it is your action.
Whew.
Oh, the tree, sorry, just so everyone knows, the tree line is at long range to you.
Okay. That's actually good to know because it technically means they gotta take a round to aim.
Sagacious Hand is having moved back? Like we're still like inside.
You're still you're inside the
carriage?
carriage.
Yeah.
It had stopped so that you could look at the patterns on the ground.
Okay. Sagacious Hands is going to grab Tarala, like lifting her close and shouting out to the other half of him that Tarala and I, one hit, we're down. What do we do? Fight? Run?
Ooh. Do I go for the quote? Do I go for the quote?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The being turns, and something between it, the burning, coursing sun surrounding it. You can see a bright light emit where its mouth would be, speaking words, but they come to you heavily distorted, like the roaring of fire. Fly, you fools.
I actually have an idea.
It's up to you. That's what he says. Or what it says. Because you can't tell.
I think we might be on the same wavelength, so if Elkavash doesn't mind the, what's it called, Anyway, I'm going to move on.
It says action, followed by Kalis and Tarala on the same tick.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I just state something for they out of character?
Yeah.
I have a ride excellency, and in the turn, yes.
I was just about to be like, well, what I'm going to do for Sans action is, so I'll just do it because it sounds like we are like, boom. I'm going to sweep up and take my move action to holding Tarala to kick the door bit that separates the horses, like the carriagey bit, to move with Tarala to be able to seat her upon the horse, and myself swinging a foot up on the other. I assume there's two, whether it's Karanthar or not, and grabbing hold, yelling back for Kalis to watch the others.
The wagon is pulled by two hitched horses. Karanthar has been trotting beside you the entire time.
Okay. So I'm going to take my move action to get her out onto a horse. I assume you want Karanthar, so dramatic-wise, I'm like, I guess I can't throw you, but
well, technically you're all within close range to each other, so it's much of a muchness. It's just there's no movement action here happening.
Cool. So I roll out, push off, and holding Tarala, get the pair of us onto Karanthar to help put her, like I'm behind her in front, so she can control Karanthar. So I'm protecting her back and grabbing the reins to help hold her. So I'm going to try and act as a human shield around her, should anything try and hurt her, because I know that she's just as injured as I am.
I like it.
Do you have something to protect you from environmental effects or fire?
Is he always on fire?
They can be trained
If he is,
not always be on fire.
Can they?
Let me go get that. Let me go get the because it's a modification to one of the 100 Devils Night Parade or whatever. One of the,
Bring it up. I'm pretty sure it's always on. I'm pretty sure.
Well, no, but it can be trained. If it's trained, it can be trained to not burn its riders.
Oh, okay. Just double check that for me really quick.
Would you prefer, for ease, I just put you on there alone?
All right. Icy hide, in this case, it would be fire hide. The horse is an environmental hazard to anyone touching it. Damage 1 bashing per round, difficulty 3. Anyone who dies from its touch burns to ash. Its master may train it not to freeze as a latent ability. I would assume within the year that might have happened. Your call. I've got the XP to burn on that if that was a thing, if you would like me to.
Do you have to spend XP to do that? I don't think you do.
I have no... I actually don't know.
It's not a magical ability, though?
I do know.
It's not a
No, it's a
magical
latent
ability?
ability.
Then, yeah, you...
No,
All you need is time.
Yep.
And I'm sure
So-
that Arthashasta could have helped you there.
Cool. And what's awesome is this is going to really help because, one, it kind of lets me use my full dice pool minus the wound penalties. And it has a beautiful latent ability of double nines and withdrawal rolls.
So you're going to run off without the caravan?
Well, I think here's the question. Kalis, do you have any ride at this point?
What I'm thinking Kalis is doing is tipping over the caravan and creating like full or complete cover for the people inside it, and then pushing it towards the battle group of archers, and then just unleashing Kalis on them.
That's actually super awesome.
That is my plan.
Should I take my move action then to be taking as many people out as I can onto the horses to unhitch them?
What's your
for
strength?
you to then do that? Actually, that's a good point because I have been training my strength by carrying Tarala all day. I would like to use going to Solar Experience Debt to increase my strength from having done that.
From
You're doing the
2 to 3?
You're doing the low cost increasing
2 to 3.
strength exercise.
Okay, I'll allow it.
I could not lift a fully grown man. I can lift a fully grown female.
I'll allow it, but you will have to roll strength plus athletics for it.
Okay. I'm going to spend an excellency on this. So that is now 4, 5, 6, 7. So that becomes 14 dice, which means I roll 10 dice because of my wound penalty. I succeeded 3 times.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yay!
you're able to grab Jonathan and Lotus and sort of seat them on the horses.
Yeah, the leg's
And-
still hooked inside one of the windows as onto Karanthar, like the sweeping, like the yoga action as she's planted on Karanthar to then move back to grab the prince into the one at the front and leaving Kalis behind because he can't fit on a horse.
As just for dramatic flair, because you forgot to mention it, I'm sure you forgot to mention this. You actually you've put them up onto the horses, and in a desperate move, you don't have time to unhitch them.
Oh, I've got that covered. Or I can do.
Oh, I was going to say, like, she could use her feat of strength to move them and like dash the hitch, because you rolled high enough for that.
Oh, okay,
Nice.
that's yeah, that works.
Unless Kalis wants a moment in the sun.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I just planned for that because I thought it might be a problem, but it's good. That's
I'm
good.
going to assume Jonathan knows how to ride a horse because he's a noble boy.
Oh, he totally knows how to ride a horse. He's got one whole freaking dot in it.
Ooh, nice.
Still, he gets the +4 ride bonus from a horse.
Yeah. But they don't get to move until the end of the round. It's still just Sagacious Hand's action. So
Oh no, I know.
what we might do, Sand, like, so you look out and you're able to sort of plop them onto their respective horses. Once they're seated, Tarala has... Hang on, when did Tarala get on the horse? Was that this action, or...?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so Karanthar sort of pulled up next to the carriage. You're able to sort of jump out, sort of just grab on hold of it and fling yourself up while Sagacious Hand tips up out the back, kicking the door open and putting Lotus and Jonathan onto the carriage. Jonathan's still sort of cradling the 6-year-old remains. Well, it's actually longer than 6-year-old, but like the remains of the 6-year-old. Kalis.
Who's now at the wagon?
Who's in the wagon is Sagacious Hand. It's still hitched to the horses, and you and Sagacious Hand are still in the wagon.
Is it safe to like throw it to Talia's J Phoenix's horse?
Or what?
Throw hand the horse? Is that a plan? Are we trying to escape?
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Where? Oh, sorry.
I imagine like recording back to our like circus days. I imagine this is a trick we probably practice where I throw people onto a moving horse as it's going back, like an acrobatic display. Is that totally something we've done, Hand?
Yeah.
I give Hand the look of is it time to ride? What's your response, Hand?
Giddy up.
Cool.
I used to say Alonzo.
Kalis, taking his staff in his hand, hoists it through Hand's shirt, hoisting Sagacious' hand, flicking the staff to give the momentum using strength, heaving to move her onto the back of Karen Thorpe. So I'm giving up my movement action for this.
Mm-hmm.
And doing it reflexively. And I'm spending the motes.
As Sagacious' hand is being thrown onto the horse, and everyone else seems to be getting clear of it, the shape in the burning sun, just pulls the cape like right off its shoulders and just casts it to one side, up into the air.
And then for my actual action, as the with the end of my staff, I bring it down to like break free the horse's hitch, displacing it with the actual thing. Using it as a lever, I tip over the wagon, so it's now acting as like a shield for myself. And I call out to the shadowy figure, "It is time for Child of Light and Dark to fight together once more." And that's it.
I like. None of that requires a roll, but
Yeah.
I'll give you a 2-point stunt just so that you can get your willpower, if you want it.
Oh, nice.
If you need it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great.
Sagacious' hand, call the blade is reflexive. We sort of thrown it up into the air for you. You need to make a roll.
Nice. Really?
Yeah.
What's
Dex plus
the roll?
melee.
Oh, okay.
It's difficulty
I thought
2.
it was wits plus melee.
Is it with? Oh, hang on, I'll double check.
It might be. Let me just double check. I'll check it for you, dude. If you
Okay,
keep
thanks.
carry on thinking.
If you succeed at the roll, it
Yeah,
instantly
wits plus
flashes
melee.
into. Yeah, wits plus melee.
Difficulty 4, folks.
Okay.
Bam! It just flashes out of existence and zips to your hand as you.
Stay close! Yells Sagacious' hand.
You
As
can
in
see.
stay in close range.
You can see the movement of the. You know what? No, they discard their bows and they charge forward, drawing blades. And start charging forwards. They would now be considered at medium range to you. End of round. Everyone gained 5 motes.
Oh wait, I didn't get the chance to use my the ride check. 'Cause Hand was the one that put me on the horse. I thought.
Huh? Did I miss
Yeah,
something?
I used
Yeah.
the action to put Tarala on the horse. She hasn't had her turn yet.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah. Because my plan was make a roll to move action to get to from long to extreme, actually a range band, and then I'm sorry, use a withdraw action, which is going to knock her to -4 initiative. It's going to suck, but that's a thing.
All right.
But what she does is she whispers to her horse basically to light it, and basically his hooves, Karanthar's hooves, ignite, creating a blaze in the grass, swirling this big cloud of smoke that you can to conceal everybody within it as she takes the horse forward, basically making a big obscuring a smoke screen.
And you're taking a withdraw action?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's going to set me to initiative -4.
Set or cost you 10?
You drop 10 initiative every time you roll, and then you can do this even in the negatives.
Yep.
So it's an extended dexterity plus athletics roll, but in this case we substitute ride. Difficulty is 1, goal number is 10, interval is 1 round. It may only be attempted if the character is at medium or greater range from all opponents. Using the withdraw action moves the character 1 range band away from his enemies and causes the character to lose 10 initiative per round. This can be done even as a result of a negative initiative value. Exceeding at the roll and extended at the extreme range causes the character to move an additional range band away. Succeeding at this roll causes the character to move an additional range band that. It's like disengage.
And the movement bonus for thing is 4?
Yep. So what I am going to do, I must finish with that. I'm burning 4 motes to get 2 successes on the roll, and like I said, she starts glowing, as does Karanthar, and like I said, his hooves start blazing, creating, like I said, this shroud of smoke around them as it ignites the grass in the field and everything.
Does it give everyone double 9s or just you?
It gives me double 9s on my roll to disengage, withdraw, any roll. I'm also going to use the fire aspect anima power, which allows me to add non-charm dice equal to an intimacy, which I am upholding this intimacy of Sagacious Hand to add 4 non-charm dice to the roll.
Okay.
So I have 12 dice. And 2 automatic successes. I'm also going to burn a willpower, and however many stunt dice I get.
I'll give you 2 points.
Yay! So yeah, the willpower's worth it. So 3 automatic successes. Grand total of 10 successes, which is the gold number, and she would be at extreme range.
Karanthar just takes off with Jonathan and Lotus sort of trotting off after it at a much slower pace, but still sort of the horses are, thudding onto the ground, sort of digging up rivets in the ground, and they're, how when horses run, you can just
successes.
When horses run, you can just see every muscle in their flank just sort of just twitch, flex, and strain as they just sort of gallop. They haven't been run this hard in a while, and so it's taking them a little bit more time to catch up to Karanthar.
But yeah,
so that's the end of round.
Yeah, and that was actually a total of 13 successes on the roll. So
you're out of here.
I had success there.
Congratulations, you've left the battle.
Yay!
Sagacious Hand. Oh, you've also left the battle because Tarala's riding you. Not riding you, but...
Whoa! Come on! It's early in the morning. It's night. It's early in the morning. It's breakfast.
It's pre-breakfast.
It's pre-breakfast.
Oh, come on. What are you thinking?
It's not even breakfast time yet.
It's time. Jeez, Louise.
So, Kalis.
I'm so happy that is still there.
Yeah.
End of round. Gain 5 motes. Your action. I'm going to call it Shadow. The Shadow sort of runs forward, sort of just darts out and picks up like handfuls of arrows that have been scattered about the ground or pulled up into it as it charges forward towards the ranks of sword-wielding crazy armors, which would put him at short range to them.
Oh, damn. That's annoying.
Wait, what's wrong?
I had an idea to like give us a tactical advantage, but it's fine.
You'd prefer for him to go with you, or you want to?
Sorry, my brain's buffering. So what's the distance between each party?
Okay, so they started at long range, then they've charged forward one range band, putting you at medium to them.
Yeah.
Shadow has just moved forward one range band towards them, putting them at short range from each other. You are at medium to. Yeah, I think that's right. How that works. Yeah.
So is there like a range band separating the Shadow and the army?
Yeah. So it's you, Shadow.
Cool. Yeah, that's fine.
Blank range band, army.
Okay, cool.
Army.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So hearing the clattering of like and the drawing of swords of them, Kalis rises up. He like pushes onto the sides of the carriage door, hoisting himself up into the air, and bringing 1 foot down, stamps hard onto the ground, and tries to cause a split in the earth, separating the Shadow and Kalis and the retreating friends from the now sword-wielding army of the undead. I'm going to use my Mighty Funes and put a load of essence into this.
How much essence?
How much? That is a good... I'm going to use my personal, because I figure that's the way to do it.
You don't want to explode in golden light like your friend?
No.
Oh, okay.
Go ham, man.
This is like surprisingly subtle.
Go ham, or if you don't prefer, or if you're not a fan of pork, go steak. I don't care. Just go nuts.
No, I'm going to take the subtle
Something-
approach while I rip the earth open.
So I'm spending. This is probably like way too much, but I'm spending. But I want to have the like accuracy, so I can cut off our retreat and create a barrier and protect my friends. So I put 10 essence in. So one of it would be for Mighty Yuan's throw. And gosh, 4 will be on the excellency, and the remaining 5 will be on allow me to reroll non-successes. So my dice pool is strength, athletics, 10, 14 plus 8 is 22. Yeah, I've got 22 dice pool. Probably didn't eloquently relay that, so I don't think it deserved a stun.
No. No.
Oh, okay,
Your players voted of 3.
Oh, wow. In which case, I will add another 2, so it's 24 dice. Let's do this, folks.
Yeah, man.
No way am I letting you guys fall victim to these horrible monsters. Not on Kalis's watch.
So your difficulty is 20.
18?
Oh, that's right, because of the thing. Yeah, 18.
Yeah.
Tarala, by the way, take your roll bonus.
Nice.
Okay. So that's 6 successes times 2 is 12.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Which means
You have
I
18 more
roll
dice to roll.
18 dice. Gosh.
And you need 6 successes on this roll.
Less because I've got some automatic successes for my stun.
Four successes, which means you need to roll 2. There we go.
Yeah, okay. So that's an extra 14 successes on there. So I don't know what that's total. That's
Kalis
26, 27.
puts his hands on the side of the cart and just flips himself up over. his heel digging deep down into the ground, sort of just almost burying himself up to his knee. And he is a huge man, so this is very, very deep, and he just pulls backwards like shifting a mat. And there's this great sort of cracking and creaking and an explosion of dust upwards as the ground between the Shadow and the army sort of just erupts in this geyser of dirt as the whole land just shifts backwards, tearing this great rent in the ground between them. The army sort of screams like this chorus of banshee-like hatred across the gap. They have no way to cross. And Shadow stops short of the edge. Those sort of bundles of arrows still in its hands. Once they finished screaming their hatred down at you, they turn and retreat back to the tree line. Shadow just throws the arrows down into the pit and turns, stalking towards Kalis.
This is not the battle our friends need us for. I fear that at the heart of the kingdom, the true battle lies. I hope you will fight beside me as friend.
I'm not going to do the Batman voice, but it's heavily distorted like the roaring fire I mentioned. I need a message. Speak to me as if I'm here, in front of you.
Are you not? I see something. I do not know what, but I know a friend when I see one. I hope.
Am I here, Kalis? Or did I escape?
Kalis leans back for a moment. My friend. Only you yourself can answer that. We all have things we need to escape from, and things we run to. Sometimes confinements are only in our mind. It's how we choose to see our circumstances is what makes them so. So, are you free? And what do you do with that freedom? I would love to hear your answer.
There aren't any horses left. It's going to be a long walk back.
Kalis, as they're talking, tips the wagon back up. In village, when oxen needed rest, I would take their place in the field. It doesn't have to be that long a walk. My stride is quite large. Let's see if we can at least catch them up. And he motions for the cart for him to get in and starts putting like the harnesses and securing himself to it.
Despite the distortion and the roaring fire of its voice, It comes off as almost serene and friendly. Kalis, is there a single muscle in that whole body you don't use? And then climbs up onto the wagon and waits.
Yes, pauses. A wise village elder once said, Kalis, the only muscle you don't use is humility. And with that, he strides forward.
Okay, so...
Flaky, I love you.
Yeah.
I've already given you both bonuses. I can't reward you anymore.
It's fine. It's fine. Their laughter is reward enough. And making a new friend. That's what Kalis is about. Friends. The power of friendship.
Friends.
Yeah, award him with a merit dot.
No.
Thanks, Cal. That was good. I like it.
He's already got some merit dots today. I'm not going to give him any more.
Oh, I was referring to merit in terms of this guy.
No, I know.
I'll attempt to try and catch up the others, but I mean, I'm not fast as a horse, even in my like.
No, you are not.
Well, that's true, though. Terrell's not going to have them running the entire time. She's gonna slow down.
And eventually, from Sagacious Hand's own experience, he doesn't want to go too far away from his other self.
Oh.
So as it reaches a point, he'd start pulling on Tarala and saying, "No, slow down. We have to slow down."
Hand. You've just been attacked by some undead.
Yes.
What's more important? Waiting or getting back just in case?
Getting back?
To the Excelsior. The dead aren't just in the city.
I felt pretty confident. It is an established fact within the world that the dead are going to confuse performers for themselves, so the performers are safe.
What about the evacuees?
That is a very good point. Were they let back into the city? They weren't.
Nope.
Go.
One thing that hasn't been introduced is the fully is Sagacious Hand's retinue, and I believe that I could be wrong. I don't know this for a fact, but wasn't one of them like an enforcer, maybe with a background as like in war, potentially?
They're not here at the moment.
Oh, they're not with the Excelsior.
No.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
My mistake. Ignore that, folks.
No, that's all right.
Because I was going to say, like, loads of performers, I know for a fact we got, like, swords in hand. We could have made a makeshift militia and the performers lead them in the... But, scrap that. Scrap that entirely.
What's more
okay,
important?
I'm at a decision point. What's more important? Staying. I need to make sure that Shadow is alright.
Okay.
I'm not leaving again.
The people who have sought refuge in the Excelsior, are they, ipso facto, the Excelsior?
No, they would be guests of the Excelsior. They are not.
Okay. Yes, Kalis?
I was going to say, unless you think that your performance team are so like good at improvised performances that they would do like, you know, when you have those workshops where you make the audience part of the performance and like teach them performance, they could like work them into performance and have like a Day of the Dead celebration to keep them safe from the dead, because they probably know too the superstition that you could hide from the dead. So I don't know, would they do that, Hand? Because that would be perfectly within the Excelsior's capabilities. It's whether you think that they would do that to save the guests.
This is one of those moments where I actually do have a retainer that would have handled any of this. I don't have anything, like I didn't set any orders, I didn't check on the Excelsior, we went straight there. So I really appreciate you trying to help me out of this, but I didn't. I was more concerned with everything else, and so yeah.
So it's at the mercy of your retainer. Let's hope they are.
So if
good
they're
at
not
what
the
they do.
Excelsior, and it's more important to stay, is there anything trying to drag you away from this spot that you have a major or higher tie to?
Oh, what I mean, like the concern for the guests, is there, but they aren't. Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah. Oh gosh, darn it. Okay. Wow, I have so many intimate. Okay, so that defining one doesn't check. What this is going to hit is the. Hang on. Do I? Unless you count compassion, which is a major intimacy. If compassion, for the people who are there,
what's the name? What's the phrasing of intimacy?
Solicitude brings peace.
Okay, no, that won't trigger. You are safe from the dice for now.
That was. I'm looking at my intimacies, man. I'm like, all these are getting. Yeah.
So, as Caranthar thunders off, sort of the fire and smoke surrounding you, and you can see Jonathan and Lotus trying their best to keep up. Caranthar is just a superior steed. When you're partway away, you hear a great thunderous crack, and the ground beneath you rumbles and shakes.
I'm gonna, at that point, because, there's one of two things. One, storms are brewing, but I'm assuming cloudless sky.
No, yes, absolutely cloudless. Perfect.
So
you can see the stars in their twinkling glory.
The other thing is the world just got K-list again. And slow Caranthar down and glance back.
As you glance back,
I'm assuming...
Jonathan and Lotus start to patch up. The trail of smoke.
Sagacious Hand is going to leap from the horse, like the lantern's still in arm. It's like, no, we can't go any further than this. Any further, it might happen again. We need to stop.
Tarala turns Caranthar around, like, are you sure? She's looking. Does she still see that glow from? Because that what it was glowing, like,
yeah, burning
daylight,
like the midday sun. You could see it for miles.
Okay, so it's still there, so she can still see it.
It's rocketing towards you.
Have I ever seen that glow before?
That glow?
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
Yeah.
Not as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Careless?
No, don't worry. I'll message you.
You've seen it in lesser forms.
Okay, so the light is rocketing towards us.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we just need to wait. Just wait until they catch up. We'll be okay.
Okay.
Turns to Jonathan, like, what, do you recognize the armor? What were they? Why are they out here? They shouldn't be this far out, should they?
He's sort of panting, and he's been sort of bounced around the saddle quite a bit, sort of trying to hold on to this bundle in his arms while also sort of kick the horse as hard as he can. It was unmistakable. They were realm troops? What's the realm doing here?
Hold on. Realm troops. The battle. It's the restless dead of the realm.
About 20 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, at least, yeah. It's when. Well, it's when Father became the man he is.
Okay.
His eyes
Well, we
suddenly
know
go
who they are.
wide. There was several battles. One of them not more than a mile from the keep's walls. Would they have all woken?
What would have woken them?
I don't know. I don't know.
Tarala, first of all, takes a moment. She gestures hand over and just whispers, "Is the ghost sleepy thing still going on?"
I have no idea. We got back in the morning when you and that stumble over when you fell. Someone died in the castle that night. I got accused of murder. I haven't looked at anything else. I don't know where Pendea is, what she's doing. I assume the mist would still be going on. But does that mean that it doesn't affect this far out?
I would assume not, but
You know for
So
a
if
fact
it
the mist
stops at the-
stopped at the keep's walls.
Yeah, the mist stopped at the wall. So this is and it starts putting it together. That's why the people have been dying. That's why you're so lacking in guards. This has been happening. They've been am I right?
You are.
That
Take your expression bonus.
hey, that's what's happened to the guards.
The Excelsior has salt, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How far are we? Do you know how far we are from the keep? I don't know where we are at this moment. Jonathan, how far are we from the keep?
Well, we can't all ride at that pace, but if we could, a matter of a few hours.
I need miles.
How fast does a horse gallop?
Okay.
One moment, I'll double check it out.
So she suddenly puts two and two together, thinking a few hours. So it's like, no, that's too far away. I can't send a message.
I'll take the lower. It's about 80 miles. You're 80 miles from the capital.
Yeah, no, she's not gonna be able to. Her charm extends to 2 miles right now.
The wagon approaches, the light getting brighter around you, and you can see Kalis sort of lugging the wagon at a full run. It's not as fast as horses, but it has served the job. The burning, corroding sun is still sitting on top.
Well, let's hitch these things up. Let's see how quickly we can get back.
Beautiful. Sagacious hand just thrown it back. I've never seen anything like this. What? Just going straight towards it. Are you okay?
I'm fine. Are we here right now? I've been talking with Kalis. And he stops for a moment. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Oh, the conversation with Kalis. You remember that?
No, I remember you. I forgot you. I forgot, and just like hits him. It's like I forgot you, you dick.
You didn't need my help again. We've made some strong friends. I wonder if this will be the last time we see each other. I'm not needed anymore, then...
God, every single goddamn time! I did not imagine you into existence just to help me when I need you, okay? Like, this distance does not diminish, okay? We need to finish this goddamn argument, alright? I am not mad. Or if I am, then you're not going anywhere. Because you disappeared. I didn't do that, you did that.
What was that?
Now kiss.
Oh.
Now kiss, says Kel. And in fact, Sagacious Hand moves forward and just like embraces the other one. Pulling the glow as tight as he can.
For the few moments,
Distance
for the
does
few
not
moments that you
diminish.
pull it into an embrace, you can not feel heat, but a warmth surround you. And in only those few moments of that embrace, your clothes are entirely bleached white.
Yay!
The top of the carriage is just this big star of bleach on it. And over time, the roaring fire subsides. The burning sun slowly contracts into the center heart of the shadow, leaving just Sagacious Hand with a sort of pulsating glow about him. And a bright glowing ring on his forehead.
Sagacious and she kind of touches at the ring. Spends a moment and pulls out his own. Press heads touching towards each other as ring meets ring with the circle in the middle. Just
what
line.
are you doing?
Oh, wait. Line. There's a pulls out his makeup kit and shows him.
But just eyes go wide for a moment. Can't cover it. It's different.
It's different.
I'm broken.
No.
I'm not complete.
No.
I'm fucking with you.
Punch.
He takes the punch and lays out on his ass. Just falls backwards. And in the reverie of the moment, even that glow starts to diminish. Before it's gone completely. Jonathan calls out. Were we in a rush?
Tarala hops off Karen's power and pats him, boosts to Jonathan and Lotus, and like, let's hitch these back up.
Looks down to Kalis and Tarala. And waves. I'm Madness.
This is my waking shadow.
We're gonna have a talk later, but right now, important things. Help me get these horses hitched.
The troops that attacked us, they're realm troops from about 20 years ago. We think that everyone that's on this side of the wall might be resurrecting and wandering about, which means anyone that's near that wall, guards or the townsfolk included, are probably going to be hit. It's at least a couple of hours away. I know the Excelsior is safe enough for now, but I don't know what to do. We can barely fight.
What about... He holds your hands close. What about what Sarah said? You can protect people, can't you? Like you did in the palace.
I can try. I need to group people.
Okay, let's...
Well, he motions over to where Crown Prince Jonathan is. Perhaps Crown Prince Jonathan Marcus, first of his name, could help you with that regard. We are in a roundabout way representing the entire Caldor's interest in this matter. And that is probably the largest group of people in the entire kingdom of Caldor.
Jonathan shakes his head. I don't have that kind of authority.
Tarala steps up to Hand, puts a hand on his back and says, "You remember what you were telling me before? All this with the everything here. Remember back when you were saying, back when you were giving us all our little pep talks?"
Feels like ages ago.
Yeah. Remember, you're not doing this alone. You got friends. Look at what you accomplished with them already. What's this? Just another drop in the bucket.
Yeah, but that was with at least some idea of a plan. I mean,
Oh, come on. We ad-lib, like, 90% of that. We ad-lib so many of our shows.
No, he doesn't. The Shadow.
Shut up.
Okay,
They are all meticulously planned.
not helping. But also helping. But not helping.
What I'm saying, Sand, is that we can plan this. Same as always. I'm not convinced. But for now, this is a pretty good dream. Let's go save some people. And you can look just as fantastic as you always do doing it.
So we gotta top your entrance from last time. I mean, it's gonna be hard, but I think we can do it.
Out of character. What is... Anyone have an actual plan on what to do other than just go there and ad-lib and see what we can do? Is there a plan on our way there? Because I have a plan, but it's not necessarily going to the Excelsior. But it is.
Shadow says that out loud. We have a plan. It's not quite going to the Excelsior, but it is.
Well, whatever the plans, I am tired of being hoarse, huh? I don't know how they do it for so long. So we, get this cart moving and talk about plan on way, huh?
Yes.
Reaching up the horse's
Right,
tail
okay.
takes a few minutes. Getting
Yeah,
underway.
Corrales is in the, and just as kind of like a reminder when it's all said and done, she reaches down, holds out a hand for Sagacious hand to take to pull him on up.
He takes it. Okay. This is gonna sound crazy, but he holds up the exigence. It's like, currently, if we go anywhere near the castle, then somewhere there is Marcus and he is possessed by Phoebus. We have with us Phoebus, who the crying ghost, and we've got and he starts actually like on the floor of the carriage drawing out the lines how you've got the castle is here, the crypt is here with the entranceway into the Shadowlands, here is the wall, here is the Excelsior, and where they are in relation to it. I would like to draw upon the knowledge from having read about Paldor, and to see if there is some sort of way in which, rather than heading directly to the Excelsior or to the castle, to loop around those mountains to get to the shrine, the crypts from the other direction.
The reason Caldor Keep is where it is because it's so defensible. So yeah, you could certainly do it, but there's no path. You would have to go mountain climbing, and that would significantly slow you down.
There's also the fact that some of us probably couldn't climb right now.
All right. What are our feelings on Jonas? He's got to be here somewhere. He can't have left the castle. Surely
I don't like him.
in the...
I mean, I don't either, but personal reasons.
I like him personally. He seems like he could be a good friend of Kaelus's.
He promised to
Regicidal.
aid us in this calamity.
What a promise is worth.
I'd like to think something.
While this talk is going on, sort of Shadow kneels down next to Tarala and sort of just... It's odd, Tarala, because he is the spitting image of Sagacious Hand. Like, they are identical looking. He sort of just reaches out and touches the large bruise that sort of formed on the side of your head. That still hurt?
Ow. Please don't touch that.
Does it still hurt?
Yes.
He did that to you, you know.
I'm kind of not surprised, but there's also the fact that I'm alive. So something gonna... He and I are gonna have a talk later.
He also brought the book back, and he didn't have to. Well, now I'm starting to wonder if, based on what Sarah said, that when he... and there's this pause, it's like... When we spoke... just omitting a detail. When we spoke in the castle, he asked for the truth. In return, he would aid us in every endeavor until this calamity is done. I kind of pushed some power into that, so I don't know what the consequences are, but if he's as up on his folklore about the big scary anathema that everyone else seems to be, I think some demonic wrath will be on his ass if he doesn't help. So I think at least in this, we might have an ally. But we've got to watch each other's backs so that doesn't happen again. He points to Tarala. So do we want him here? Do we want to risk him coming and trying again? Or try and call him so we've at least got another pair of hands for this? Because if we need to get up to that mountain, then he controls stone. He can make us a path like a bird's eye right there.
It is.
I'm just gonna say, if we can get near the keep, I might be able to see if we can talk. As you both know, I can speak, and within certain distance, you guys will hear it.
Sagacious Hand is going to hand on Tarala's shoulder. It's like, I've got an even worse idea.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah?
what?
I kind of want you to save your strength, but I need to know if it's okay. Are we calling him or not?
If you have a means of getting in touch, look. If he agreed to it, I'm willing to put this aside until this is over.
I just wanted to throw it out there that if we are to lay Phoebus to rest in the proper way, this was hidden from the whole entire kingdom. As a shaman, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the whole kingdom should probably participate in his burial. I feel that will appease his... It needs to be an event. He needs recognition that he was denied.
So, here's my crazy plan. He holds up the Formica, as in what's left of Formica. we know that there is a spirit, Pandaea. From everything De Novo said, she seems to be turning from an ancestor. That the level of power that she has means she might be becoming some sort of deity. Now, this land has just lost its deity, but she isn't just, well, she is mortal, but she's also Formica's child, as is Phoebus, as is Selene, and he lists the family tree. Every single one of them buried in that crypt. All of them would have carried a part of Formica with them. We saw, Kalis and I saw on the walls the mural that the goddess Formica gave her blessing, part of herself, to this entire family line, and all of them are buried up there, save for Jonathan. I think the spell that Jonathan used in which to call that spirit, even though it didn't work as intended, with this new symbol, that the one, and he points to Jonathan, you said it felt right, that it felt different from the first. Then why don't we take Phoebus and put him with the rest of his family and merge Lady Pandaea with Formica. Formica is gone. There is no bringing her back. But if she's a goddess of the earth. If we could, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, put them together so the essence that is left in the bodies of her children can reform to make, if not Formica, then at least a new god, something to protect all the way to the edges of this land, to deal with the dead, to help deal with, if it doesn't draw the soul from Marcus, then to deal with that problem later. Instead of just individual rest, all of them reunited, and hearkening back to the words of Kalis, family. Doosh, says the music. What do you think?
Jonathan's staring at his notes, not saying much. Shadow rips one of the pouches off his plethora attire. Just starts slowly unfolding it, sort of massaging it, treating it, pulling it out like a strap, and then apologizes to Rala to say this is going to hurt for a moment.
Okay. She closes her eyes and waits.
He flicks the strap over his shoulder and then takes out 2 daggers and sort of starts rubbing them together until it's warm. Places it against like the bruise. And you can feel the warmth at first, but then the hard press of the metal as he binds it in place. Strap. It's painful, but no more painful than you're already feeling. He turns to Hand and inspects the wound on his shoulder and shakes his head, saying that there's not much he can do about that. He's rolled no successes on healing you, Hand, but Tarala, he has rolled over 7 successes on his medicine charm.
Nice.
At the end of the day, he will
snap.
heal 7 bashing and or lethal.
Oh, that's, that will put me at my -0 level being filled, so effectively full. Effective.
So, this journey in this wagon is going to take some time.
while Elf is figuring that out, what do you guys think of that plan? I'm just going to add some addendums to it, which is...
I mean, Taralla's at this point, like, you've had crazier plans.
I figure if, and like would have said during the trip, that if we can get Auric, then his skill in shaping the earth could be able to make a form from the earth of the land itself, like of Kaldor, to help reinforce the symbolism of the earth, and your fire, as in the fires that of renewal, of from after the flame there is new growth, to try and help the seed that is Formica regrow, using the elements themselves to help reinforce this.
How far away did I say the kingdom was?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you on that one. What was
How
that?
far away did I say the kingdom was?
80 miles, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that?
Which is quite far to be traveling by cart.
Hmm.
Yeah, I vastly underestimated the. Oh wait, no, it's about right. About what I thought it would be. Cool. Now, considering that it was sunset just before you left, and there's been about an hour's worth of travel now. If you kept going, you would arrive at the kingdom about 2, maybe 3 hours before dawn. Unless there's anything anyone wants to do or can do to speed that up, that's how long it's going to take.
My intention is, if everyone is okay with calling Jonas, I am going to attempt to actually call him myself with an epic stunt.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. If everyone's okay with it, to get us there quicker. So that's one way. If everyone's on board with this plan, if everyone,
I mean, Taralla's already said she is willing to. She's choosing to let bygones be bygones for now. She will deal with Jonas. A nice long chat on her own time.
If we are to make a new god for Kaldor, a god is no good if the people aren't behind the god. So this will need Crown Prince Jonathan Marcus, first of his name, to, with our help perhaps, convince the people that this is the right step for Kaldor, and perhaps this will be the new journey they take, but it is not one they can walk alone. The people need to be behind this.
I can do this, he says with a remarkable amount of determination and confidence. I can do this.
I have no doubt, my friend.
Taralla actually looks at him with a grin. It's like, I'm just gonna say, compared to at the party, 0% prig in that. You sound great.
Lotus
And after
agrees
this-
with you.
After this is all done, I am going to have stern words with how you treat fallen warriors, regardless of which side they fought on. You do not leave. You send the bodies back to their families so they can be properly interned. They're leaving battlefields strewn with dead bodies. Is no dignity in that. But that comes after. First we survive this next few days, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Gives a look to Kalis. It's like, everyone cover your ears. I would like to use strong lungs, which allows me for like I think it's strength and athletics, like holding your breath, the same way that Kalis is like sucked in breath and put out the fire, and to have called to Tarala, I am going to suck in air as well, deep, low, and let the image of my waking shadow, who was like this glorious, blazing icon of bright energy, like the draconic voice. I'm going to mimic that demonic resonance as I yell out as loud as strong lungs, like can, the minutes worth of air pushing outwards as loud as I can. Mr. Auric, abandon virtue and give yourself willingly to depravity. Honor your oath. The deceiver calls you. For anyone watching at home, that's actually straight from the book. We, the Eclipse Cast, are called the Deceivers in Immaculate Fables. The Empire of the Anathema was built on lies, and these monsters were its architects. Their honeyed tongues could convince men to abandon virtue and give themselves willingly to depravity.
Strength plus athletics with a 3-point stunt.
1 sec, darling. Sorry.
Strength plus athletics with a 3-point stunt.
All right. Woo. Looking for dice roller. And I'm still at a -4, so strength and athletics is 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to spend 7 motes, so that becomes 14, which then goes to 10. Adding the stunt becomes 12. Is that right?
12 with 2 successes, and you get 2 willpower that can take you over. May as well.
Cool,
spend.
and I'll spend 1. So rolling 12 dice. 6, 7 times. Plus 8, 9, 10. 10 successes in total. Mr. Auric.
The strength of your voice right now is akin to the force required to lift an elephant, to raise a drawbridge by hand, or punch through a brick wall. Did you spend personal or peripheral modes?
I actually haven't written it down yet, so what should I spend? Do I feel like glowing? Nah, I'll just spend regular. It's fine.
You're gonna subtly rip open the earth like Kalis did.
Just subtle.
She's about halfway there to ripping the earth open. Not quite. I mean, the bellowing of your voice sort of threatens to burst eardrums, and the glass in this that makes up the windows of this carriage definitely shatters, not from the pitch, but just from the intensity of the sound that just sort of, like a sonic boom, just out from around you.
Think he heard me?
Yeah.
Kalis?
It's just hand. Shh. The baby is sleeping.
Shadow starts to tap on the top of the wagon, the carriage, like more and more urgently. Hand. hand.
What?
But you look up and he says, it's coming again. And as you look up into the sky, you can see that lance of fire streaking through the air, coursing down towards the carriage once more.
Oh, god damn it!
End session.
Lance of fire?
You're gonna die.
Hey!
We're still live, ducks.
No, it's the
Thank you
disembodied
very
voice.
much for playing. Thank you very much for everyone watching. Thank you for everyone who's been following along on YouTube. We really appreciate it. Now, you've bumped on quite a few objectives today. Alright. You've now fully gained Jonathan as an ally.
Oh, wow.
Alright. You've
Nice.
figured out why the good King Marcus is a good king and yet has managed to fail so miserably. If you recall.
The people dying, like losing all these guards, and
Forces that he could not possibly be aware of have been aligned against him. You've correctly discerned the nature of the sorceress ritual that has caused this issue, and you have found the solution to it.
nice.
That's 4 regular experience for the whole group from today's session. Tarala?
Or regular.
I would like to point out I was attempting to gain. I did trying to reinstill in hand the whole "you've got friends with you" thing. That was attempting to reinstill a major intimacy that was emotion based from hand earlier.
Didn't I give you
And
your
that
roll
would,
bonus already?
No, you gave me my expression bonus.
Oh.
So,
Sorry, I thought I'd already given you your roll, otherwise I would have pinged off on that one. So yes, sorry, take your roll bonus.
Yay!
Thank you very much, everyone, and please join us on Friday night for what will hopefully be the thrilling conclusion to this long and bonus-filled story, In the Shadow of Kings. Thank you very much, and good night.
bye.
Bye!
Bye, my friends.